Have you ever felt someone dislike you? Before you even spoke, maybe it happened at work. You walked into the room, greeted everyone, and one person barely looked at you. Later, they interrupt you. They dismiss your ideas. Sometimes they even criticize things you never said. And the strange part is, you never had a conflict with them. No argument, no misunderstanding, nothing. Yet the tension is there. Most people assume the same thing when this happens. Did I do something wrong? But psychology suggests something surprising. Often, the problem has very little to do with you. Human beings constantly interpret others through hidden emotional filters, insecurity, comparison, past experiences, and silent fears. And when those filters are triggered, dislike can appear. Without any clear reason, before you dismiss it as imagination, there are subtle behaviors that often reveal when someone quietly resents you. Once you notice them, the dynamic becomes much clearer. And here is the detail most people overlook. The signs are rarely obvious. People who dislike you without a clear reason rarely confront you directly. Instead, their behavior becomes quietly inconsistent. For example, they may act friendly in public, but subtly dismissive in private. Or they might constantly interrupt you in group conversations, not aggressively, just enough to shift attention away from you. Psychologists call this microdominance behavior, small actions people use to restore their sense of control. Another common sign is selective coldness. They laugh with others. They engage easily with the group, but when you speak, their energy suddenly changes. Short responses, minimal eye contact. Why? Because your presence may unconsciously trigger something inside them. Perhaps comparison, perhaps insecurity, perhaps a reminder of something they wish they had. Research on social comparison theory shows that people often evaluate themselves by comparing with others around them. And when someone unintentionally highlights a gap, confidence, attention, success, the reaction isn't always admiration. Sometimes, it's quiet resentment. Which leads to a difficult question. If someone dislikes you for reasons that aren't really about you, what are you supposed to do? The instinctive reaction is to fix the situation, to become more agreeable, more careful, more accommodating. But strangely, that often makes things worse. Because when someone's negative reaction comes from internal comparison or insecurity, trying too hard to please them can reinforce the dynamic. Instead, the most effective response is something far simpler. Calm neutrality, not coldness, not confrontation. Just quiet emotional distance. Continue being respectful. Continue being professional. But stop trying to win their approval. This approach works because it removes the hidden competition that fuels many unconscious tensions. At the same time, it protects your own mental space. Another helpful strategy is controlled warmth. Be polite when interaction is necessary. Offer kindness when appropriate. But avoid oversharing personal thoughts or seeking validation from them. Psychologically, this sends a subtle signal. You are not a threat, but you are also not dependent on their opinion. And interestingly, when that pressure disappears, people often soften over time. Not always, but often enough. Because the moment comparison fades, the hostility quietly loses its reason to exist. Human relationships are rarely as logical as we imagine. Sometimes people dislike us not because of what we did, but because of what we represent. A reminder, a contrast, a mirror, and mirrors can be uncomfortable. The truth is, you cannot control how everyone interprets your presence. You can only control the way you carry it. With steadiness, with quiet confidence, with enough self-respect to stop chasing approval from people who already decided not to give it. Ironically, that calm detachment often changes the entire atmosphere. Not because you forced respect, but because you stopped needing it. And if you've ever noticed these behaviors in someone around you, you might ask yourself one simple question. Were they really reacting to you, or to something they were already carrying inside?